Hello everybody, Factosaurus here, and today is a very special day. Today is November 3rd. Now for those of you who don't know, that is G-Day. This is a very special G-Day this year. It is Godzilla's 70th anniversary. So I thought it'd be a fun idea to celebrate that by giving my opinions on all of his films that have released in the past 70 years since 1954. Just a quick note, I have not seen all of them. That's why I have this little category right here, but I've only not seen like four of them, one of which is probably for the better. But yeah, I won't keep you waiting. Let's get started. So starting off with Godzilla 1954, Kojira, or Gojira. I don't know why I did Ko, but yeah. Without question, this has to be in S tier. It's the first Godzilla movie, and it's also one of just my favorite movies of all time. I actually really love this one. It's such a good story. I just like it. It's the original. You have to put it in S tier. And overall in general, it is just a really good movie as well. So yeah. Then in 1955 we got Godzilla Raids Again, and this one, actually, I actually kind of like this one. I'd put it in B. It's not nearly as good as 1954. So yeah, I forgot to mention this, but I like to be a little conservative with S tier. So this is for like my top 10. Otherwise, I'd put half of them in there. So yeah, out of the way. King Kong vs. Godzilla. I actually really don't like this. I watched it one time before Godzilla vs. Kong came out, so in 2021, and I didn't like this one. It was not that great to me. I think that the King Goji suit design is really cool. I think that's actually one of the best Godzilla designs there is, but the movie itself is not that great. The King Kong suit looks absolutely atrocious. Yeah, overall I just don't like it. However, this was the first Godzilla movie to be in color, which is cool. Anyway, oh, these two are accidentally switched around, or are they? I don't remember which one came first. I'm pretty sure it was Mothra versus Godzilla. And this is another S tier. I absolutely love that movie. I think it's really, really good. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love it. I think the monster action is all good. The Godzilla and Mothra designs are both great. The characters didn't bore me to death. So yeah, I don't know. I think Mothra vs. Godzilla is just a really good movie. But yeah. Then we have Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monsters. This introduced King Ghidorah into the series, so Godzilla's like number one enemy. But I actually don't think it's all that great. I'd put it in C tier. I thought the movie was alright. This was when Godzilla started to kind of be a good guy. Like, this is where they kind of started. He wasn't entirely good. I think that was more around like Ibra, but still, this is where they were heading in that direction. And that's not the reason I think it's bad. I like it when Godzilla is a hero. I prefer it when he's a villain, but I still like it when he's the hero of the story. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I just didn't find myself really enjoying this one all that much. It's just all right. Invasion of Astro Monster. This one I actually just recently watched, and I really liked that. That was a really good one. Invasion of Astro Monster. It was fun. I liked how they gave King Ghidorah a little bit more of a backstory. How he's terrorizing Planet X. And yeah, of course you have the Godzilla dance in here as well. It's just fun. Ibra is also one that I just recently watched, and that's another S tier. I think that's an absolutely incredible movie. I thought it was fun. Ibra, I enjoyed Ibra a lot more than I thought I would, actually. I think he's really cool. I like the design of him. And also the music in this movie especially, like, that's some of the best there is in the series. I don't know why, but they went really hard composing the soundtrack for this one. Yeah, Godzilla design is also pretty cool. Oh yeah, fun fact about this one. This one's actually supposed to be a King Kong movie, and you can kind of see that how like Godzilla interacts with the woman. Yeah, it's not something Godzilla normally does. I don't think he ever does anything really like that again. But yeah. Then we have Son of Godzilla. This is one of the ones I haven't seen, so we'll just move on. Destroy All Monsters. Destroy All Monsters. I actually don't like this one as much as other people. I think the end is really good, but for the majority of the movie, it's just a B tier. Like, it was cool to have like all the monsters come together in this one big movie to just absolutely beat up King Ghidorah, but like, as I said, that part doesn't really happen until like the last 10 minutes of the big final fight. It is cool to see like having the monsters all over the world though. That was fun. But yeah, I just don't. I think people overhype it too much, just because I feel like all they really remember is the end. Um, haven't seen, and I guarantee you, if I have seen it, it'd be an F. But you know, who knows? Maybe I might actually enjoy that once I get to it. Um, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, another S tier. I think I like it. I like it better than both Ibara and Mothra. It's just really, it's a weird movie. Hedorah is a really cool monster in my opinion. I like its message on pollution, like that's especially important. Like now, like this was made in 1971, so quite a while ago, but it's gotten more important to know about the damaging effects that humans are having on the environment. Also, there were these little sections with like 2D animation. I thought that was cool. They didn't really serve any purpose, but I don't know. I like animation. I think it looked really cool. But yeah, Godzilla vs. Hedorah is it's a fun movie. There's a little bit of weird parts in it, but I liked how it was kind of like it had those horror elements of like, you know, Hedorah like just pretty much disintegrating all those people. It really shows like the damaging effects that we are having on the planet. So yeah, I just think it's a good movie. Godzilla vs. Gigan. This is the I unfortunately haven't seen this one yet actually. I've heard people like this one though. And then Godzilla vs. Megalon, we're just gonna put that in F. I don't want to talk about it. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. This one's actually a C tier. A lot of people like this. I thought it was alright. It did introduce another one of Godzilla's biggest enemies, Mechagodzilla. But I thought it was alright. I liked the plot of it though. It was interesting having like Mechagodzilla pretty much just disguised as the real one. I thought that was cool. But then that whole singing portion with King Caesar, I don't know. The rest of the movie was just alright for me. I did like the Mechagodzilla design though. I liked how there was Anguirus as well. Terror Mechagodzilla, this is the final one I haven't seen, so the rest of these I have seen. So, yeah. Godzilla 1984, aka The Return of Godzilla. This is an A tier. It's not quite S. I thought it was really good. I just recently watched this since it came on the Max at the beginning of October, so that was the first time I've ever actually even really had a chance to see it, and it was cool. I liked it. The Godzilla design is all right, but the movie itself is pretty good. It kept me entertained for quite a while. The giant sea louse, I remember that. that was there. That's all. I think it's just good. Oh wait, whoops, no. I think it's better than Astro Monster. Godzilla vs. Biollante. This is an incredible movie. I just recently got the chance to watch this for the first time, and I thought it was great. It had an insane amount of cool monster action. Biollante was really, really awesome. God, it was just so good. I don't know how to describe it, but I just loved every bit of it. It had pretty much everything I've wanted from a Godzilla movie. It had it had an actual, you know, good human storyline. It had Godzilla as the villain, and he's fighting an insanely cool monster. It's just got everything I want from a Godzilla movie. So yeah, it's one of my favorites out there. Hold up, wait, gotta make sure. I might move one of these guys around actually, depending on what I put in S tier next. Yeah, I may have to make some changes. Anyway, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. That's another S tier as well. It's better than Ibara. It's better than Hedorah. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is actually one that, for some reason, I don't think a lot of people... I've seen people, like, when I see other people's tier lists, like, they tend to put it in B tier. I actually really like this movie. The time travel, while it's a little bit goofy, I like it. I like the new origin story that they gave both Godzilla and Ghidorah. And also the Heisei design for King Ghidorah is, like, the best one out there. It looks really, really cool. And Mecha King Ghidorah... I wish he would come back. If you didn't know, King of the Monsters had an end credit scene where they had Ghidorah's head. I thought that they were trying to do Mecha King Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Kong, but now ended up being Mecha Godzilla. But yeah, I think they should bring back Mecha King Ghidorah. Yeah. It was just really cool. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. I love the design of both monsters. The new origin stories were great as well. Oppositely, one that a lot of people seem to like, I actually think is pretty... It's really just an movie for me. Godzilla vs. Mothra. This one's Mothra vs. Godzilla. Godzilla versus Mothra, it really wasn't a Godzilla movie. It was more so focused on Mothra. And I'm okay with Godzilla movies paying more attention to other monsters. But the problem for me is that the Mothra storyline in this just wasn't interesting. I'm going to be honest, I barely remember anything about it. Batra was cool, but he didn't do a whole lot. So yeah, this movie just wasn't it for me. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. I used to think this was A tier, but like as I watched it more and more, it's kind of wore off for me. It's at the top of B tier. I still think it's good, but it's not near as good. The Mechagodzilla design is all right. This is actually one where I think the music is also really good, though. It's like Ibra level music. But yeah. It was nice to see Rodan return. We haven't seen him for quite some time in the series, actually. When would be the last movie? So wait, when would we have seen him last? That would be a long time ago. Like Destroy All Monsters would have been like the last time we saw him in the series, right? Yeah, dang. So yeah, Rodan made a return after quite some time. So that was cool, especially in his new form. Oh yeah, the whole Baby Godzilla plot was introduced, which I thought was over the next few movies in the Heisei era, they get that he turns into a bigger Godzilla. Anyway, yeah. Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. I'm biased because Space Godzilla is my favorite kaiju. I think he looks really cool. I don't think it's actually A tier. The movie itself is not that good. I want to put it in A tier because it's the only appearance of Space Godzilla. But in reality, it's more like top of B tier. I do still like it. It's just not near as good as like 84. But yeah, I think Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, it's cool. Like their whole thing is like they're trying to like mind control Godzilla, and then one of his cells, that I think it was a cell from when he killed Biollante. I forgot to explain this, but Biollante is made from G cells. But yeah, it's one of them like went into like a black hole and then mutated into Space Godzilla. Yeah, Space Godzilla I just think is a really cool thing. Yeah, Mogira was also in this. He was alright. But yeah. Oh yeah, this also like has the cutest Baby Godzilla design you'll ever see in it. Little Godzilla is awesome. And I love his little bubble atomic breath. Anyway, then we have Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. Do 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 do. And where do I want to put this? Better than Ghidorah. Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. This was meant to be the original ending. Well, never mind. It's more like this. But this was one of those movies that was meant to be the end of Godzilla. Like this would be the final send off. And honestly, he did a pretty good job having Godzilla basically just like he's intake too much radiation. So he's gone thermonuclear, essentially. He's burning Godzilla now, which is one of the coolest Godzilla designs ever. I think it looks awesome. The orange is really cool. And of course, the monster that he fights is actually the thing that killed the original Godzilla in the first film, which was the Oxygen Destroyer. It mutated these little Precambrian organisms, and then they eventually turned into Destoroyah. And I think it's just really cool. This is a great movie. This would have been, in my opinion, a great final send-off to the character. He does melt down and die, but they freeze him in time, so that way he doesn't, like, completely destroy the planet. But the radiation that leaked out of him is absorbed by Godzilla Jr., and he becomes the new Godzilla. Nothing is ever done with that plotline, but I still think this is a really good send-off to the character, and I think, like, honestly, if none of these movies were made, like, this would have been a great final movie for Godzilla. I think it's really good. Godzilla 2000. This is another good one. I think it's top of A tier. It's not quite S tier, but it was a really good movie. This is, in my opinion, the best Toho design for the character. Not my favorite design overall. We'll get there, but yeah. I think I like the green with the purple spikes. Those are my two favorite colors, so they're put in the one. So that's great. But yeah. Orga was also an interesting monster. For some reason, I think what I've seen, a lot of people don't like her. But I think she's really cool. I think the whole transformation thing is really cool. How she like tries to absorb Godzilla, and then he just blows her up. The ending of this movie is a little funny though. Like I don't get it. Everybody just stands by and watches as like Godzilla destroys the cities and like Godzilla's literally just like blasting his atomic breath everywhere, and there's just credits scrolling across the screen. I don't really get why that was, but you know. Anyway. Oh wait, why were you in front of whatever? Okay, so we have 1998 now. Hear me out. This was better than Mechagodzilla. This is a C tier movie. The creature in this movie was not Godzilla. But in general, this was a good movie. I thought it was that. It's by no means is it super good. We have everything else above it, but I thought this was actually at least a good movie. I may be a little biased because this was the first Godzilla movie I ever watched. This was my introduction to the character, so I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why I like it and everybody else hates it. But actually, I really don't hate the design of the character. I like, in case you couldn't tell, I like dinosaurs. I'm not sure if you knew that. But yeah, the design is it's pretty much just a big T-Rex but it's spikier. It's cool. It's just like trying to make a more biologically possible Godzilla, at least in terms of like if it really was a dinosaur, like this is probably what it would look like. But yeah. Yeah, I don't hate the design. I don't think it's even the design that people hate about it. I think it's just like how it's portrayed in the movie. It's like an incredibly weak animal, the whole thing with it laying eggs. Yeah, it was weird. But I don't think it was that bad of a movie. It just wasn't Godzilla. Anyway, Mechagodzilla. This movie, it's not S tier, but I love it. Get in front of 2000. I think Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is genuinely one of the best movies in the series. Or, well, not S tier, but I think it's really good. A lot of people don't like this one. Or, it's not that they don't like it, it's just like, it's more like a mid-tier movie for them. But I think Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is fun. It's just, it's not the story. It's just a monster action. The fact that Godzilla literally gets a black hole thrown at him and he just wipes it off like it's nothing. Mechagodzilla is also a really cool kaiju as well. I liked her. Yeah, they had like a little bit of horror elements with it, like when it was in like the larval stages or whatever, it was like killing people. But yeah, I thought it was cool. Mechagodzilla was interesting. It still has the cool. It still has that green and purple design for Godzilla, which was awesome, and it just had a lot of monster action in it. I thought it was just a really fun movie. All Out Attack. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this one was that good. I mean, it was good, but some people will tell you. Some people will say like this is like one of the best ones out there, like S tier. I don't think that. I think it was good. Baragon was in it, so that means it automatically is like pretty high up there. But I don't know. The whole thing with like Ghidorah being a hero, that was a little weird. Like he was one of the guardian monsters along with Baragon and Mothra. Godzilla. The whole thing with how Godzilla was made, he was like made out of World War II victims' souls. I think that's an interesting take. It's like makes his motives seem more like, I don't know, reasonable. But yeah, he just wants to take his revenge out on everybody. But yeah, overall though, it's a B tier movie. I don't know what else to say about it. Now, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. I grabbed the wrong thing. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Hold up, wait, before I do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No! You're being moved down to A tier. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is really good. It's the best film in the Millennium era. By far, Kiryu is the best Mechagodzilla design of all time. They kind of had that cool spiky design with Godzilla, except they gave him the traditional colors of black and white. But yeah, Kiryu being possessed and built around the bones of the original Gojira from 1954, I thought that was really cool, and how like it just kind of goes rogue on occasion. But yeah, and also this was the only Millennium series movie to actually have a direct sequel. For those of you who don't know, Millennium is really weird. So Millennium is Godzilla 2000 to Godzilla Final Wars. So, and basically how the storyline works is each movie is pretty much a direct sequel to 1954. So this one is connected to this, and even though Megaguirus has the same design, it's not connected to 2000 at all. It's only connected to this. And then same thing with this. This is another sequel to 1954. But after that, it got a sequel, Tokyo SOS. It was a significantly worse sequel. I see a lot of people say that Tokyo SOS is better than Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. I don't think that's true. I was very underwhelmed by this movie. It's probably because I went into it with high expectations because I really loved Against Mechagodzilla, and I hear everybody saying that, oh my gosh, Tokyo SOS is way better than the first one. So yeah, maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it too much. I just went in with way too high of expectations, but yeah, it let me down a lot. So yeah, C tier. Final Wars. Final Wars is tough. I think it's top. It's A tier. I like Godzilla Final Wars a lot. I like Godzilla Final Wars a lot. This was another movie that was meant to be the send off to Godzilla. This was his big bang for the 50-year anniversary. And this time they actually did at least try to stick to that. Like, another Godzilla movie wouldn't be made for 10 years. But yeah, it was a cool movie. Godzilla fighting against pretty much every single monster he had ever fought in the past, as well as the aliens taking over the planet and using it all. Oh yeah, and the addition of Zilla being an official Toho monster now. But yeah, I like how he just instantly destroyed Zilla. That was fun. But yeah, I think it was really cool. Unfortunately, Manila is in this movie, so that's never fun. But other than that, I thought Godzilla Final Wars was pretty good. It was just meant to be a big battle royale to send off the character, and in that regard, it succeeded very well. Then 2014 Godzilla. Yes, I did just do that. This 2014 Godzilla is, in my opinion, the best Godzilla movie in the series. It was directed by my favorite director, Gareth Edwards, and that's probably what helped it skyrocket for me. I think the Godzilla design this time, this was America's like America's redemption arc for Godzilla movies after the tragedy that was 1998. The design is absolutely incredible. I love the spiky dorsal plates and the gills. The gills was a really cool addition that I don't think is actually in any other Godzilla other than the MonsterVerse rendition. But yeah, Godzilla 2014 is really cool. I love the more grounded take on the character. It just makes him feel more realistic. And this was like, I don't hate the MonsterVerse, but one thing that I think it does very poorly nowadays is it doesn't make the monsters feel big at all. And the reason for that is, one, because they put them into these environments that are like their home, like Hollow Earth, like in everything, like it's meant to be monster size, so you don't really get an idea of how big they are. And then they also just tend to have no weight anymore, with Godzilla just jumping around. And the reason why that works with Toho is because even though the monsters are like really, really fast, especially near the end of the Showa era, they're at least like, they're near buildings, so you know that they're still huge. But yeah, that's something I think 2014 did a really good job with, is that, especially with the help of Gareth Edwards, he's really good with CGI, and he's really good at conveying scale. So yeah, this is the movie where Godzilla truly feels like an unstoppable force to me because of Gareth's directing technique. And yeah, I just overall think it was really cool. The Mutos were, they were alright monsters. I didn't mind them taking up more screen time than Godzilla because I did actually quite enjoy them. I thought they were cool. Yeah, and especially the way that Godzilla kills the female Muto. That was cool. And the music is also just really, really great in this one. Especially that music to the intro with the intro credits. That was really good. all the music in this movie. It's all original music. There's no classic music in this movie, and I think that's really cool how they made all this incredible soundtrack without using anything from the Toho films. But yeah, I'm gonna stop. I spent like at least 5 minutes, so that's like a third of this video just like talking about 2014. Anyway, Shin Godzilla. That's an A-tier movie, I think. Get up. So yeah, Shin Godzilla is really good. I think that this was Toho's like first real dive into CGI. They had used CGI in the Millennium era, but it was very minimal. Like it was just for scenes where like they truly like really needed it. Otherwise, they used the traditional tokusatsu method. But yeah, this was the true thing. Like this is where Godzilla just started to be all CGI. And honestly, they did a really good job for their first try at it. Yeah. Shin Godzilla is an interesting movie. Like this was the first time where Godzilla like really evolved at all. And I thought that was a cool take. I like Kamada-kan and Shinagawa-kan, and then Fourth Form, which I don't know its actual name. I just call that one Shin Godzilla. And then right at the end where they freeze it, that possible Fifth Form, where they left off on that cliffhanger with like the humanoids growing out of the tail. It's unfortunate that didn't go anywhere, but it was a cool concept. I liked Shin Godzilla. I kind of did wish we got a sequel to it, but I think it works really well though as a standalone movie. The atomic breath scene as well, or it's more of like a photon beam in this movie. Yeah, his beams are crazy. He has one out of his mouth, his dorsal plates, and his tail, which is just really cool. This is a really awesome Godzilla. I like how he's just pretty much just a walking destruction machine. I'm pretty sure the director said like he's always in pain, and that's a little sad. It makes you feel a little bit of sympathy for him. He's just like constantly dying essentially, and he just has to live with it. So yeah, that's sad. But it would be an S tier, but it just slows down too much. Like right as the third act starts, like it slows way down. It's just a bunch of meetings for the next like 30 minutes, and that gets me very disinterested in it because the human story for this one is pretty bad. It's not the greatest, but the Godzilla part is just beautifully done, and that's why it's so high up. Anyway, King of the Monsters. This is a... I actually think this is better than Destroya. King of the Monsters is the sequel to Godzilla 2014, and they just essentially tried to make a Toho movie in America, and I think they did a really good job at it. Bringing back all the original monsters, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah was a really good idea to help this. Unfortunately, it didn't perform very well, which is probably why we haven't seen another Toho monster appear, well, other than Mothra and GXK. But yeah, no like Space Godzilla, no Destroya, no Hedorah, no Anguirus, none of that. The main reason for that is probably because this movie it underperformed. Because one, it spent like half of its budget, I'm pretty sure, just like securing the rights to use those monsters. But it also, it released at the same time as Endgame, which probably didn't help it. So yeah, it underperformed. It did still make money because, as you can clearly see, we still have the MonsterVerse going today. But yeah, it just underperformed, and that's probably why we haven't seen him again. Then there's Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong is it's a B-tier movie. I think it was all right. At some points in this movie, the CGI just looks not real for some reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, I think the final battle at Hong Kong is definitely the best part of this entire film. And then Mechagodzilla came in as well, even though I just like had this whole rant about how there's never another new one, but never mind, you get the point. Like, we're probably never going to see Ghidorah again or whatever. But yeah, it's not as good as other people say, but I think it's still alright. Then there's -1, and -1 is second best. Godzilla -1 is essentially just 1954 if it was made in the modern day. Takashi Yamazaki is a great director. This was a truly incredible movie. It really was just the original one, but with like modern special effects. And the fact that it was made on a $15 million budget and the entire city, and as well as Godzilla, is all CGI is incredible. But yeah, it also is the only movie out of all 39 of these, even though there's none of the Netflix films. So, not even though none of the 36 of these, out of all of them, it's the only one to have won an Oscar. Not for Best Picture, unfortunately. It was for best visual effects or special effects or whatever. But still, it's the only one to ever win an Oscar, which is why Toho literally yesterday made an announcement that Takashi Yamazaki is coming back to direct the next Godzilla film. So here's hoping Godzilla Minus 2 is really good, and I really want to see Anguirus in that movie, since, it would make sense. This one is pretty much just mirroring the original, so the sequel would probably mirror rates again. And then finally, we end off with the newest movie in the series, GXK. And in my opinion, that is at the top of A tier. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah, I've wasted all my space. Okay. Anyway, yeah. GXK is at the top of A tier. This is actually my favorite Godzilla design. It is literally just Godzilla 2000, but with modern CGI, so it looks really, really cool. Yeah. Even though this one didn't focus a whole lot on Godzilla, I thought the Kong storyline was still, very good, so, that's why I like it a whole lot more than GVK, because GVK also didn't focus around Godzilla a whole lot, but the Kong storyline was just alright. But yeah, Shimo, she was also really cool. Godzilla's whole evolving thing, as well as the return of Tiamat. I consider myself a Tiamat connoisseur, so that was very cool to see her. I love Tiamat so much. She's probably my favorite original Titan in the Monsterverse. But yeah, it was just cool to see all of this. And I thought the final battle, I thought it was really cool with the whole Hollow Earth thing. The only problem is that in this movie, they didn't really feel like huge, giant monsters, mainly because most of it was spent in the Hollow Earth with zero gravity. But near the end, once they got back into Brazil, they felt like true giant creatures again. Yeah. And that is my opinion on all the Godzilla films. And as I look at this now, how do you see this? Look, I made a perfect staircase other than the haven't seen section. Wow, I did not mean to do that, but this happened. So what do we got? 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. That's awesome. But yeah. These are just my thoughts on all the Godzilla movies. You have your own. I'd love to hear what you guys think are the best Godzilla movies in the comments down below. I just really wanted to do this to celebrate 70 years of the character, and yeah, that's all I've got to say. This is my final thoughts, and yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.